With seasoned floor general Anderson hitting the open market, the stage is set for Bailey to seize the spotlight at the guard position. With range that stretched to the parking lot and vision rivaling NBA greats, her influence was nothing short of seismic. This class, headlined by talents like Paige Bueckers and Van Lith, was expected to capitalize on that explosion of interest. Then came the twist that silenced the room. Van Lith, selected 11th overall by the Chicago Sky, carried a narrative that struck a chord. She had battled through a transient university journey, donning jerseys for Louisville, LSU, and TCU along the way. Renowned for her scrappiness and endless motor, she built her brand on silencing the skeptics. Linking back up with Angel Reese, her old LSU comrade, seemed like a draft day dream, hinting at a lethal partnership in the Windy City. However, simply enjoying the limelight wasn't on Van Lith's agenda. She harbored a grudge, a vendetta stemming from a collegiate clash with Clark back in 2023. During that Elite Eight showdown, Clark incinerated LSU with 41 points, leaving Van Lith and her squad choking on exhaust fumes. That iconic "you can't see me" handwave transformed into an inescapable meme, and the sting never faded for Van Lith. Here is where the train violently departs the tracks. The 2025 WNBA draft was poised to be a glittery coronation, a night destined to enshrine the next generation of hardwood royalty. In a casual pre-draft segment, she was tossed a softball inquiry: start, bench, or cut, involving legends Diana Taurasi, Sabrina Ionescu, and Caitlin Clark. It was designed as lighthearted filler, yet Van Lith perceived a chance to strike. With the lenses focused and the audience clinging to every syllable, she elected to start Taurasi, bench Ionescu, and cut Clark. The venue hushed for a heartbeat before exploding into whispers. The digital world instantly erupted into an inferno. Supporters were aghast that she would attack the league's golden goose so openly. But wait, the story gets darker. Van Lith was just warming up. During her media availability after the pick, she doubled her bet. While she avoided speaking Clark's name, her razor-sharp rhetoric drew blood. She preached about clawing her way to the top, insinuating that certain peers were gifted stardom on a gilded tray. The subtext was blindingly obvious. Clark, the press's favorite child, was in the crosshairs. It was an audacious gambit, dripping with self-assurance but reeking of poor judgment. Van Lith believed she was spinning a Cinderella tale, but in reality, she had just jabbed a sleeping grizzly. The fallout is where it gets ugly. The retribution was swift and merciless, with the fanbase dismissing her remarks as petty jealousy. Yet, rather than a seamless passing of the torch, the evening spiraled into absolute bedlam. Armchair analysts inundated the web with statistical breakdowns, pitting her collegiate resume against Clark's. While Van Lith posted respectable figures near 20 points nightly at Louisville, 18 at TCU, Clark's production was from another galaxy. She had obliterated the NCAA history books, claiming the all-time scoring crown while dragging Iowa to consecutive title bouts. Her box scores resembled something you would see in a simulation with the difficulty set to rookie. Moreover, her influence transcended the hardwood, selling out venues and elevating the league's prestige. Just when the storm seemed to peak, the professional community joined the fray. ESPN commentators were left dumbfounded. One observer described Van Lith's vitriol as green-eyed jealousy masquerading as swagger. Another highlighted the cruel irony. Clark's ascent had propelled the 2025 draft to become the second most viewed event in league history. With 1.25 million eyes watching, by throwing shade at the cash cow who put the league on the radar, Van Lith wasn't merely sparking a feud. She was estranging the very audience and colleagues she needed to survive. Even established pros reacted, with several quietly hitting the unfollow button on Van Lith's profiles. The writing was on the wall. Do not aim for the throne unless you possess the firepower to defend yourself. Hailey Van Lith, that tenacious spitfire fresh off a roller coaster collegiate tenure, didn't merely attend the festivities. Yet, the sequel is where the true madness lies. The ultimate blow was delivered by Clark herself, though in a manner no one predicted. As the internet dissected every syllable of Van Lith's rant, Clark remained mute. Zero tweets, zero press conferences, zero petty responses. She allowed a solitary instant to do the talking. A frosty, knowing smirk captured on film the moment Van Lith unleashed her insult. It mirrored the expression she wore in college whenever rivals attempted to rattle her, seconds before she buried them with a logo 3. A few days later, she surfaced at a youth clinic, mentoring children and autographing memorabilia for hours on end. The difference was night and day. Van Lith was hunting for internet fame, while Clark was busy cementing a dynasty. This is the exact moment the tide turned. Barely a few weeks post-draft, Clark stole the show at a Pacers match, launching t-shirts and commanding the arena like no fresh face ever has. She turned a warm-up game into a masterclass, lighting up the scoreboard with 28 points, dishing out 8 dimes, and grabbing 5 boards just to prove she's the main event. Draining shots from the logo and orchestrating plays, she looked less like a newbie and more like a seasoned general. She kicked down the door and immediately took a jagged swing at Caitlin Clark, the undisputed face of the sport. It wasn't simple theater. At the same time, lenses zoomed in on Van Lith stuck in sweats, pacing the sideline and waiting for a chance that never came. The internet had a field day, flooding feeds with side-by-sides of Clark dominating, while Van Lith watched from the pine. The analytics spoke volumes. Clark didn't just play. She rewrote the history books, shattering records for rookie scoring and passing, and logging the league's first-ever rookie triple-doubles. She snagged both Player of the Month and Rookie of the Month titles simultaneously, a feat never before seen in the association. Conversely, Van Lith hadn't even stepped on the hardwood for a single second of pro action. Don't go anywhere, because the backlash from the WNBA inner circle was absolutely savage. One shadow source allegedly quipped, "You get respect by dropping baskets, not by running your lips on draft night." An older star credited Clark with boosting the league's bankroll and visibility, basically telling Van Lith to sit down and be humble. The suits knew who paid the bills. Gate receipts exploded by over 300% the moment she declared, and her jerseys make up nearly 50% of all gear sold league-wide. Fresh multi-million-dollar contracts with ESPN and Amazon, which quadrupled primetime slots, were signed purely because of her magnetic stardom. It evolved into a jaw-dropping circus that left pundits, spectators, and peers gasping for air. But the craziest detail? It wasn't just bravado. Clark isn't merely an athlete. She is a solo financial stimulus package. And if that sounds intense, just wait. Van Lith's nightmare was only starting. Behind closed doors, the consequences were turning ugly. Word got out that several franchises skipped over Van Lith, spooked by rumors of a toxic attitude that could poison a locker room. An insider confessed that while she has skills, she is no Caitlin, and nobody wanted the headache without the high-level output. Chicago decided to roll the dice, hoping her bond with REESE would act as a buffer and smooth out the friction. Yet even that alliance brought heat, as REESE had already matured through her own battles with Clark, learning to coexist at the top. Van Lith, however, appeared stuck in the rearview mirror, and the upcoming plot twist is something nobody saw coming. The season kickoff throws Chicago against Clark's Fever, instantly becoming the most hyped showdown on the calendar. This is Van Lith's shot to back up the talk, but the weight on her shoulders is absolutely suffocating. Any bricked shot or loose ball will be instantly measured against Clark's brilliance, with the internet already betting Clark drops 40 and sends Van Lith home humbled. It was a catastrophic blunder that brought Van Lith to her knees before she even laced up for a single professional minute. Those remarks on draft night didn't merely spark a rivalry. They created an unreachable bar for a rookie with zero stats. And by the end of this story, you'll see why the stakes are so high. Clark, for her part, is unbothered, ignoring the noise to grind in the gym, recently sinking 50 out of 54 three-pointers on her birthday. She is chasing rings, not trying to win a war of words. Her debut year was legendary, becoming the quickest to hit 100 threes and shattering the all-star assist record among other milestones. She isn't just a headline act. She is the blueprint for the league's survival. While franchises overhaul their marketing and arenas sell out for her arrival, Van Lith's digs might get likes, but Clark is commanding reverence. With every shot and sellout crowd, she proves her worth. Van Lith has an uphill climb because she didn't just pick a fight, she chose the wrong opponent. The big leagues aren't the NCAA, where trash talk alone can sustain a career. The WNBA is finally blowing up because of Clark's grace and grind. By attacking her, Van Lith miscalculated and cast herself as the villain before she even proved she could play. Picture the electric atmosphere inside the shed at Hudson Yards, New York City. The 2025 selection show was monumental. Every single time she laces up, it will be a verdict on those draft night comments. With critics and fans sharpening their knives for any mistake, you won't want to miss how this plays out, believe me. When the noise fades, one truth remains. Caitlin Clark has no need to clap back verbally. Her performance screams louder than any microphone ever could, leaving Van Lith with a mountain to climb. When Chicago and Indiana collide in May, the scoreboard will be the ultimate judge, and that's when reality hits. In this league, chatter is worthless while Clark is depositing checks with every basket. Is the Van Lith and Angel Reese duo actually a danger to Caitlin Clark? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's discuss. Surfing the tsunami of a historic season, Indiana Fever icon Caitlin Clark had single-handedly revolutionized the game as a rookie, packing stadiums and shattering viewership records.